On this project, I selected few lines that I've been dreaming of for a long time, that are accessible with my plane.
I want to go further about what is snowboarding and to explore new places close to home finally. And when we are in the air with Geraldine, to observe the beauty of the Alps, it's something really crazy. It's made me so emotional.
I can talk about numbers of objectives we have for the project. We are in the nature. We're gonna go in the best place with the snow conditions, with the wind conditions, because we have to fly there.
For sure, I can say that I enjoy the climb and the ascent almost or just as much as the descent. And she's not taking that out of the equation by using her airplane. She's still climbing and skiing and skinning, and she's just landing herself in a really efficient spot to access these beautiful lines, and I can appreciate that. With an airplane, it's limitless.
It's always cool to share not only the riding part but also the flying part, which is super technical, and having someone who wants to understand it.
I like the idea to play with the elements and to play with the air. You have so many things super interesting around us finally.
I think a project like this kind of requires quite a cold head. Yeah, if the conditions are right, it's quite straightforward, but you need to have the mental strength for it. You need to be ready for it and you need to want it.
Tac, on va mettre les skis. Ça c'est trop bien.
Ok, alors maintenant il faut démonter les roues. Voilà. Ouais, mais t'es au bout, je pense là. Bien sûr, t'es au bout, maintenant il faut serrer.
It takes some time to understand exactly what you're doing. That's why I'm doing it with Justino. He's really a super good mechaniker and he's used to that. I prefer to have someone next to me just to make sure that I'm doing everything the right way.
On y va Géraldine, il faut y aller là, serrer un peu.
Nous, on va faire du freeride avec les avions.
On va lancer la discipline. Et puis là, c'est parfait. Tip top. Voilà. Bueno.
When we prepare a day of flying and riding, it all starts a few days before, because we try to check to get the best conditions to fly and ride. I go earlier, 2-3 days before, to check the lines if the snow conditions are good. If everything is good, I prepare my flight plan, where I'm gonna land, which gear we're gonna take with Marion. We really have to stay light, and even more when we sleep in the mountain, we have to consider that we cannot bring everything with us, because the plane, in terms of weight, cannot be charged more than 525 kilos.
The plan today is to go and recognize few lines close to the Petersgrat and the Mouton-Hütte. We had a small snowfall last week, and that's approximately it. Then we had a lot of wind as well. So this is why I try to recognize some lines that are really well protected. We can see the Petersgrat Glacier, and there is 2 lines next to the glacier that could be cool.
Yes, I can see the line from here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Komderfjern and Petersgrat, these 2 glaciers are touching each other, and we started at this region because this year it's the 70 years birthday of landing on this glacier, so it's symbolic to land there 70 years later to go and ride a line. Hermann Geiger made this first landing with his plane with skis, and he was a pilot from the region who opened most of the landings around the Alps, the Swiss Alps.
He was not the first man who landed on a glacier with an airplane. There were several trying before, but not very successfully. So he was thinking about the technique, how he can land and take off again on a glacier which is kind of like steep, you know. He kind of like stole this technique from the birds. So he was looking at the birds and figuring out how they land. So what a bird is doing when he lands, he comes with speed against the hill and goes up with speed, and then he lands. And then he turned around and he accelerated downwards to pick up speed and fly away again.
The technique of Hermann Geiger is the technique we use today to learn and land on glaciers.
Nous nous trouvons, mesdames et messieurs, aujourd'hui sur l'aérodrome de Sion, en plein cœur des Alpes. Bonjour Hermann Geiger,
bonjour,
fait un bon vol.
Monsieur Burger, très bon vol, merci.
Mais ça n'est pas le premier de la journée, non?
Ah non, c'est le 25e vol aujourd'hui. J'ai commencé à 4 heures du matin et vous voyez, ça marche sans interruption.
Yeah, he just got this job, you know, to be the chief of this little airfield in Sion. And in 1952, my grandfather landed the first time on the Kanderfilm. But at that time, it was a plane, and the idea to land on a mountain was just like, okay, how do you do this? He became famous because he saved many people's lives in the mountains. He was a pioneer, so he did stuff no one did before.
Most of the material was brought by Hermann Geiger to build the hut of the Mutternhütte. So that's why it was also super fun to start the project there, sleeping in the hut. So here is the hut. Now we have to find the entrance. Oh! Hello! Let's have a look. A real little Swiss hut. Ah, il y a même de la lumière. Okay. So this is probably the entrance. As a mom, I prefer to do day trips because I don't like to be too long far away from my son. But for a few lines, it's impossible to do day trips. And for big lines, I definitely prefer to land the day before, enjoy the place, get the energy of the place and get inspired by the line. Hermann Geiger a monté tout le matériel pour construire cette cabane.
Ah ouais.
Première fois qu'un avion s'est posé là.
Ok.
Juste en dessous de la cabane, là où on a laissé Roméo. Cette année, justement, c'est la
historique.
fête de la cabane.
Ah ouais.
Content d'être arrivé.
Yes,
Yes.
bien joué. Il fait petit ce couloir, t'es sur les photos.
Ah.
Ouais, ça réveille, c'est top.
Bonne descente, ma belle.
Allez,
Profite
amuse-toi
bien. 3, 2, 1. Je vais faire des virages de guide à gauche. Je vais voir si c'est bon.
I like to draw lines on the beautiful mountains I don't care about who was there before or what is the angle, what is the exposure sometimes. I'm just really in love about to draw my own lines like an artist finally.
Ça chauffe les jambes, hein. Non, bah dis. Et ouais, c'était plus canon que je ne l'aurais cru.
That was a pretty cool experience. The line on the Petersgrad was really nice. It was the first time I was doing it. T'es viré. Having the opportunity to look at this mountain from another view from above made me able to find new lines. It made me able to go a little bit further and also understand more about the mountains. I think the motivation I have is the right words is passion. I have a real passion for the mountain and I have a real passion about the place where I live. My original passion is snowboarding. Since I'm a kid, I was able to ride powder and to discover new places in my playground. My playground who made who I am today, and the whole background I have wingsuit flying helped me so much to fly today well with my plane. I'm using the thermal winds to go up. I'm not flying into the rolls. I feel them straight away. I can even see them. It's not something you can really see, but I know where they are because I'm a wingsuit flyer. With my wingsuits, I have no power, I have no engine. My only way to get more power is to use the wind and use the thermal to fly better. Winning the Verbier Extreme when I was 21 years old changed my whole life. I quit my job at Geneva Airport. I end up competing for the next 8 years on the Verbier Extreme, then the Freeride World Tour, and my passion became my everyday life.
I'm really just inspired a lot about this woman. To be a pilot, to be a wingsuiter, to be a mom. In the same time, it's opened my eyes about my future. I like the idea to play with the elements and to play with the air.
Why Marion? She loves freeriding. She loves going in the mountain. And I didn't know before I started to speak with her a lot about this project that one of her dreams is to start to fly and being able one day to fly in the mountain as well.
I'm really excited about sharing the knowledge with Géraldine and to know more about big mountains. I'm happy because I learn something new every day with this project.
She's getting to be one of the best freeride snowboarders in the world, and she really knows her place. You know, she knows, okay, I've won the Freeride World Tour, great, but I need to learn a lot more, especially all those steep runs from the end of the season.
Rosa Blanche is the highest glacier at the back of Montfort, really close to Verbier. When I started glacier landings, it was my favorite place because it's a super easy place to land and train and learn how to be a good glacier pilot. Going around this place a lot with the plane, I find new lines that I've never been riding before. And it's really next to the plane. You leave the plane, you just walk for 10 minutes, then you drop into a big line and you just have to walk back up to the plane and you can leave.
we tried to wait like 1 hour to get the snow melting, and finally it was still icy because the wind was really cold. So you never know finally in mountains.
This season is really dry. We only had 3 snowfalls, only one which was really good. The 2 others were super small. And for the kind of mountains we want to ride, we need much more snow. It's just that you have to be ready when the nature gives you the opportunity to play with. There's so many things to consider when you're flying in the mountains, and it's not just taking off, landing on the glacier and going for a ride. I had some issues with my last engine. Actually, I think the main problem was that I'm a woman, and I tried to explain the guy who I was buying the engine from what was my target. And he kind of didn't take me seriously, and that was the main problem of my engine failure. I was full of oil on my window because the tube of oil exploded. I always trained myself to be in that kind of situation, so I had to land without engine and looking through my window on the sides to be able to land my plane. I was really scared that the engine could get on fire. It took me more than a week to be able to eat again and recover from this shock. Bye bye Odi! Ouais, là on vide le liquide de refroidissement Odine du circuit. On va nettoyer le circuit.
On part sur une base d'un moteur qui est standard, après c'est customisation. Donc en fait, en fonction des exigences de chaque pilote, on va essayer de trouver ce qui fonctionne le mieux, quoi. En l'occurrence ici, c'est essentiellement climatique parce que c'est les variations de température qu'il peut y avoir entre quand l'avion part d'ici, par exemple de Sion, où il fait 15 ou 20 degrés, et qu'elle monte sur un glacier, où la température elle peut descendre à moins 20, quoi. Donc forcément, c'est pas des plages d'utilisation qui sont standards, quoi. Il faut pas venir à vendredi 13.
Pourquoi?
Parce qu'il fuit le...
Parce que quoi?
La durite, elle fuit.
Non! Parce que quand je l'ai vu rouge, je me suis dit, bah, c'est pas le bon produit.
C'est du Bordeaux.
C'est du Bordeaux.
Trop cool. C'est bien silencieux ce matin. La rotée.
Bip bip. Tu peux t'installer, ma belle.
Ouais.
Comme ça, on va chauffer la machine. On s'installe, on chauffe la machine pour décoller à 7 heures.
Let's go.
When you go up 3,000 or 4,000 meters, you have to fight wind, you have to fight the elements, you have to fight turbulence. Then you have less power from the engine, and then you have the conditions of the snow and the light. So all these things you have to take in charge when you want to do a landing.
Awesome. Really can't wait to ride all the lines that I was watching in the sky. Allez, c'est parti! Parti! April we got 2 snowfalls, and I was really happy at this moment to say, okay, now I can really ride as I want. Trop cool! Allez! But some days after, the wind was there and the snow was totally different. It was the mix of fresh snow, crusty snow and icy snow again. And at the end of the phase I was like, maybe this is not really what I want, and especially when the guide the day before told you it could be really dangerous during this day. Maybe we don't have the same level with Geraldine about the commitment in the mountains.
The mountain is always more powerful than you are. It's not always easy to say this. It's definitely not easy when you are part of a project and you don't want to disappoint people.
I'm nobody to judge, finally. I can't judge the commitment of people, but sometimes I'm just I have so much questions in my head.
I think it took me a small 10 years, I would say, to transition from like basic snowboarding competition to traveling the world, filming full on, like making big projects and finding kind of my real style. Because I think it all comes down to that. It's like finding who you are, what your skills are, what your style is, and then start to choose your objectives accordingly.
Being in the mountain is my oxygen, it's my inspiration, it's where I feel alive.
When you expose yourself every day, and this is maybe the beginning of something dangerous, when you normalize the risk. You have a risk about to injure yourself, like in competitions, but you have the risk to die in high mountain and big mountain. This is the difference.
The more I'm in the mountains, the more I'm opening my senses and sharper my perceptions becomes. I know I can't cheat with nature and I just have to listen to it.
I'm really happy. We got really good days, but I think it's time to say no.
In life, there are some opportunities that you just can't say no to. And when North Face asked me if I wanted to come over to Europe and fly and ski with Geraldine, it was just, yeah, immediately was, yes, for sure, let me know when I can come. The last few seasons that I was ski racing, I was really drawn to the mountains and big mountain skiing, and the path that I've really followed or pursued has been steep skiing, ski mountaineering, human-powered, and to open my eyes to see a completely different way of traveling and moving through the mountains by air, it's really cool. And I was right near the end of my season and I said, I have this one commitment, but right after I'll go home, do my laundry, and I can fly over.
It's the end of April, and now it's the period where the snow starts to stick on the big lines on the ice. But it's always the same, and sometimes these big lines are not in good conditions at all. So it's gambling a little bit. You have to be there when it's good, and if it's not, maybe next year. Ouais, j'ai été volée jeudi, t'as reçu les photos. C'est super sec, je crois que j'ai jamais vu ces montagnes aussi sèches à cette période de l'année, quoi. Et c'est quand même une période où c'est censé être quand même avoir beaucoup plus de neige sur ses faces.
It's the 20th of May 2022. A year ago today, pretty much to the day, we're on the Bec de Roche shooting with Jan Rausis, and it looked a little different. This hasn't been the best season.
In May it was just completely dry, warm temperatures. But I do understand that things, especially in the spring, they can switch so fast. So I think coming over I was quite hopeful that with the forecasted storm that we were all looking at would provide some really nice steep skiing conditions on these faces. As humans, we just want to keep reaching for the unreachable. You know, you want to keep pushing. The challenge of it is waiting for that right moment, knowing that the conditions are right, the weather's right, your partner is right, everything's aligning, and you're gonna go. Flying around, you know, like, it's the best opportunity to really go shopping for lines. You see so much terrain and you think, well, maybe there'll be something out there that will look good and will be inspiring, but I mean, we flew all over the Alps and it's very limited for skiing opportunity right now. It's a really challenging season for you guys, and flying around, it's really challenging conditions, which makes it really dangerous if you're like, okay, this one will work because it's our only option.
We have a snowstorm coming in.
Turning a bit north, you see, northwest, so it will bring more snow in the Bernese Alps. And we're planning to ski south face, so the sun effect will be intense in June.
The best is that we try, we are here, and that's the most important. We're having good time, and let's see if we are lucky. The plan now is to ski not to the head and have a rösti. Actually, it was pretty challenging to land today because the wind is coming northwest So we are into the rows of the Munch. You ready?
Yes, I'll follow you.
See you tomorrow, Romeo. Thank you for bringing us up there.
Should calculate what time we think we want to be up there and skiing.
Probably 9:30. What do you think?
Yeah.
Actually, the first glacier landing was made in 1919 on the Jungfrau Joch Glacier. And actually, the pilot had no skis on the plane. He wanted to land on wheels, but he ended on the nose of the plane, so he broke his propeller. He had to repair the propeller, and then he could take off the next morning.
Skiing these lines is a huge undertaking. You know, you hold the stress of this, you know, this event that you want to accomplish, and that's just the climbing and skiing part. And then you have to consider landing, what the snow will be like for the plane landing, what it'll be like for the takeoff, because there's so many moving parts that need to work perfectly just to make it all happen. If you don't enjoy the whole process of it all, it's not worth it. You have these little things of doubt, like, is it gonna be too icy? Will it be like water ice, glacier ice? Will my edges be able to hold? And you look down and you see these tiny little pin bindings, and you're thinking back to the guy that mounted them in the ski shop. Okay, I need to trust that guy. So you need to trust your instinct, your partner, your equipment, and once you drop, it's your own ability to just keep yourself on that mountain. It's pretty wild. I'm not searching out icy slopes, but I think it brings me back to ski racing and being so precise with your technique. Your mind needs to be strong, your technique needs to be strong, and I really enjoy that challenge. You put yourself in these risky situations and you just try to be as calculated and strong and sharp as you can on that given moment.
Nice work.
I would have come for one flight in the Alps with Geraldine, so to go and climb and ski a beautiful line, that's just an added bonus.
It was icy.
The most unique thing for me leaving from this experience is seeing a space that I've never played in and seeing how someone just lives in the air.
And they were building this dam at Grand Ixad, you know, the big dam in Vallis. And he was flying up and he had a package, well tied up, you know, but it was 50,000 Swiss francs. It was the salary for the workers, and they didn't work without money, you know. So he was flying up, he brought them also, you know, the material and so on. But when he was flying up and he tried to open the deck, you know, from the plane to throw it down, it didn't work, it was frozen. And he realized that, he knew, okay, it's frozen, but when I fly back down to the valley, the temperatures will go up, eventually I will lose the money. So he was flying over area very close to the roads, and the area he knew was easy, accessible. He was flying down and further. Then he realized, boom, okay, I lost it. So he looked where, and he went down to Sion and called all his friends and mountain guides and said, guys, I got a little problem there. You have to come and help me. So they went up with cars and with just keys and finally found the money.